to the ProveX sacrifice. So there you go, RH Max. Delusional patience. That's absolutely what you need. Channel your inner Buddhist monk. That's what we all have to be right now. Yes, but when it comes to the ProveX sacrifice, again, if this annoys you to hear about, tune out. Don't do it. If you just want to DCA the core coins, if you want to leave the ecosystem, go ahead. Whatever it is you want to do, that's fine. But I do think there is going to be an opportunity here because it's such a low valuation. Again, no expectation from sending your coins in. Assume that they're gone forever if you're going to do this. But one thing is for certain. So we just highlighted Pulse and PulseX sacrifices were what? Nearly in the hundreds of millions of dollars, Ewok, is the money that was raised because everybody had, as you mentioned, all these paper gains from Hex and everything and sent that in. And then those get launched and have been horrible for the 2 years in existence if you look at the price charts. Now, it's not just that. It's also that everything we talked about at the top of the show. Horrible business ISM. Ethereum did nothing so far this cycle. It's that too. And if those things happened, it would have looked a little bit prettier. But they're very bloated. You've had people that are whales selling along the way. And that's why one of the best calls that Richard's made, everybody's hating on him in the chat here tonight, or a lot of people are. One of the best calls he's made is not doing anything, in my opinion. We did see an injection by an interested party into the ecosystem in the winter, spring of March of 2024 when we saw a nice little run. It got sold right back down. It was like 20 some $20 million. So, and that's all that ever really came from that for the rest of this amount of time. So anyway, the setup of the ProveX one, because everybody is so pissed off and so broke right now, means that there's nowhere near the amount of money that is going to be sacrificed for this. We've heard people, I've heard people speculate as low as like 10 million, which I think that'll probably get beaten because we're already at like 2.5 to 3 right now as it stands for the whole sack. And some people as high as 50 million. Either way, those are minuscule numbers compared to what Pulse and PulseX did. So talking about the model that the Pulse and PulseX sacrifice was, there was a 2.5 point, how would you say this? 2.5 multiplier for the highest sacrificers. Essentially what we learned from those sacrifices, and luckily I didn't overextend myself in any way. I don't think you really did either, Ewok, but people got wrecked on them because you essentially have to be not necessarily a whale, but you need to be part of a pool or something to get the largest multipliers. And if you're not, it basically makes this not even worth doing. Right. So this time around, we have a couple things on our side. One, nobody wants to do this. So getting into it, I don't think there's us talking about it here tonight isn't going to make all these people who absolutely don't want to do it want to do it all of a sudden. There's not that kind of power. So I think it's going to be a relatively small pool. Now the multiplier is higher. It's 3x instead of 2.5. And luckily what we've learned because of that, last cycle is that, you need to be part of a pool if you're going to do this. You cannot do this on your own. If you are Rackham Rochelle, who you were channeling earlier, and have millions and friends in Saudi Arabia and all these other things, go ahead. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. You have your own Saudi pool or something. But if you are a person watching this show and has even a few grand, let's even say, to put in, or less than that, it's not going to be worth it for you. You're going to get a 1 point something multiplier at this point, and it's just not going to be enough for the money that you're putting in.
Right.
So all this to say, luckily, Buck and Dylan, the guys from, I guess, Fox, whatever that their products,
the PH products,
the PH ecosystem.
Yeah.
They had created a pool early on in this thing, and right now are leading the ProveX sacrifice standings by far. Do you have any way to pull that up, Ewok? You don't, to show the standings right now?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to send you a screenshot of that? I know the site wasn't working for you. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the thing I sent. So, So right now, what we're not seeing on the screen, I'll just say this, is the ProveX sacrifice total is at $2.645 million right now. At this stage, you are getting the biggest bonus multiplier until I think it's December the 1st or 2nd. It's 13 days. Yeah, basically 13 more days is what you've got. Basically, if you wait past 13 days, I probably wouldn't even do this anymore. So this is a window where essentially, if you're going to do this, I would do it now. I'll say what we are doing. We're doing it now in this window before the next 13 days, December 1st or 2nd here. And as part of a pool. Neither one of us are doing this on our own. Now, luckily, you can see on the screen that number one address. These are the top 5 sacrifice addresses for this so far. The number one address, the one that starts in the 0x15354 yada yada, with 750,000. It's actually almost 800,000 now. I was just checking. Sacrificed is Buck's pool. Okay, so they're at the top slot. They're getting a 2.7x multiplier. The way that works is there's like a bell curve, so that's why it's not exactly 3, because there's all these other, sacrifice addresses too. But you can see, look at the precipitous drop off from 1 to 2 because of how big our pool is here. So Buck's pool is so large and he's dominating so much right now that the second place guy is the whole way down at 2.4 basically, and then down beyond that. So that's a pretty significant percentage. So Buck has created this, Buck and Dylan. Anyone can do this. They're actually looking for small players. No, they're looking for whales too. There's been multiple people, Buck himself included, he said, that have thrown in 6 figures into this. But there is a Telegram. There's an official Twitter for it. Buck is tweeting about it. Ewok and I, full disclosure, are taking part in it. I just today sent some over to this address. So if you are interested in doing this, we earn nothing. The only other disclosure, I guess, that Buck is saying that the highest percentage that they are planning on taking is 10% of whatever the multiplier is. So that does not mean 10% of the tokens that you would have gotten, but just 10% of the multiplier. So in other words, like if they got this, say the multiplier ended up being 2.71, the multiplier that you would end up getting after you get your tokens would be 2.71 times what, 0.271 would be, I can't do all that right now, like 2.5 or whatever. So you would get a little bit of a haircut off of what the total is.
Right. And the reason they're doing that is because of the fees, because they're sweeping this every so many hours or whatever to send it in, so that the money doesn't sit there in the address. So there are a lot of fees along with it, and rightfully so. That's what they're taking off the top to cover all the fees from the different chains. There is Ethereum money, there's Pulse chain money. Obviously, those will be pretty cheap, but sending a bunch of Ethereum transactions does add up. So they will take a little off the top. We had talked about, back it up a little, we talked about last week, hey, we should do one, right? And then when we saw this, it was like, well, we can't compete with this. It doesn't make sense to deal with the mistakes and the doing. Let's just pull everybody in it and do do it this way, when somebody else has it nice and organized and they have a website for it and a Telegram room, and they're willing to run all of that stuff. So it didn't really make sense for us to do it. It just, these guys are well trusted in the ecosystem. They've been around for a long time. They have products of their own. If they really wanted to steal money, they would have done it a long time ago. There's many millions of liquidity in their products as well. So, easily trustable. Let's all pull together and get the best bonus we can.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Do you want to go to, so I sent you a couple tweets. Like one was a tweet from the ProveX account that Buck made for that, just kind of giving the details, and then a Buck post as well. Whichever one you want to go to. I think the Buck post is better because it had, well, you can do this. So this was from the other day. This is the official. So it's literally provexpool.eth is the address. And then it also has the address too. Actually, to make it easiest for everybody, and I'll put this in the chat, simply go to provexpool.com. There is a Telegram as well, which I think I saw you did. I was on it whenever you got in, Ewok, I think, actually.
Yep.
So, provexpool.com, right, is the site. So I'll put that into chat for everybody. You can get the wallet address there, all the details that you want, all the tokens that are accepted. I mean, all they're doing is just mirroring what RH is accepting for this sacrifice. There's no difference there. Yes, you can sacrifice from Pulse Chain, but only essentially stable coins like USTC from ETH, DAI from ETH, Tether from ETH. That's pretty much it. Or a lot of stuff from Ethereum too. You can look at the whole list, but there's a Telegram as well. I would urge people to do that. I think the Telegram is set up extremely well. They have a bot in there that every time somebody sends in a transaction over at least a couple $100, it shows it in there. So when you send a transaction to them, it shows it. And then they pretty much have it automated. When their address then sends it to the RH SAC address, it shows that too. So you can track everything. You know, you don't have to worry. That's the beauty of crypto, you know, of using this stuff. You can look at it on the blockchain, and then you can look at it in the Telegram as well. And you may ask yourself, like, okay, so I already don't know what I'm getting from throwing money into this, according to Richard. Then I'm not only not sending it to Richard's SAC address, I'm sending it to these other guys who are supposedly going to send it to his address. Then Richard, the SAC address, will send those tokens to those guys, and then they're going to send it back to me. Well, yeah, that's why this is a risk. You know, that's just part of it. And that's why many people are going to be down on it. Now, I 100% trust Buck, Dylan, like you said. They have a shit ton to lose by running off with this money. They're extremely visible. People know who they are in real life. There would be massive repercussions for them, you know, as there would with a lot of the things Richard Hart has done. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I have much reason to trust them. And this is a risky game. Look at us now. I mean, we're all down significantly on our money from the last few years. So it's a risky game. Is this
a little bit more? What's a little bit more?
Exactly. And that's it, is measuring what it is you're going to put in. Like what I put in today would have been my normal weekly DCA into the ecosystem. That's about all that I sacrificed for Pulse X2, thank God, back when I did. And I know what you sacked for Pulse, and Pulse X wasn't something that substantial. So, yeah, what do you make of this pool, though? I think it's fantastic. And then if you in a moment want to pull up the Buck one to show, we can do that as well.
No, I actually did more substantial, but again, it was paper gains for the other two.
you weren't totally hurting though. Yeah.
No, I wasn't hurting at all, but it was still six figures for each. So it was substantial. Again, that was my way of taking profits essentially, and the profits haven't paid off very well, to say the least. Either way. No, I like what they're doing. I like the way it's set up. And again, to do it on your own, you're kind of just a lone wolf. You're not going to get much. I think $1,000 would get you maybe 1.4, 1.5, something like that, maybe. Whereas this, you're going to at least get 2.5. You should get at least 2.5. Even after the percentage gets taken off the top. So, $1,000 would turn into basically a $2,500 investment. So it is nice to do that. Again, these guys have been around a long time. They have a good reputation. I don't know that anything has really ever come out where they've been tied to a scam coin or a pump and dump or anything like that. I believe they had their own sacrifice for the PH ecosystem.
I think
a lot of that money was put back into it as liquidity. So again, they've had plenty of opportunities to run off with a lot of money, and haven't. And I'm a fan of it. I'm totally a fan. Again, I wanted to do our own, but once I heard about this, it was like it made absolutely no sense to take on the extra risk. We don't have that type of viewership where it would have even been close to being able to compete. What we could have done was started a pool and then put it into their pool, Right. So that would make sense, I guess, but just do it this way. It seems much easier. So,
yeah, I think what they're doing, they have this first mover advantage, which is really, really good. Like they've already gotten out in front. Like Buck, they're having like daily office hours, just talking about it and everything, and trying to recruit people. They're having all these people chip in early and wanting people in early to continue that first mover advantage, because they're basically the only ones talking positively about this that are visible. You know what I mean? Like there's just not very many others. And again, kudos Fast Abdul. He's been going on all these other streams. Shout out RH Max. He was on your channel talking about it the other day. And this will kind of transition us into this part that you kind of alluded to earlier, Ewok. But Valiant Low Key says, is Liberty Swap going to join the #1 pool or do their own thing? I haven't seen what they've been saying, but at this point, I think it behooves everybody. I think they should just join this pool. I don't think that, you know, it makes any sense really to continue to try to beat each other out and, you know, dick measure basically at the top there. I just don't think that's going to make sense.
Yeah, and I think, you know, several people had mentioned that to Rockham too. It's like, you want to make the community, you know, friends again, just join the pool. Why would you do your own thing? Why would you, you know, just do that? To, you know, some people enjoy being the enemy, I guess, or
we could name all those people. Yeah, the few are crawling back out of the grave right now to shit on Richard again. Yeah,
right. So, you know, again, I think it just makes sense for everybody that's going to get in to do it this way. Now, again, there is that extra layer of trust. If you don't have that in them, then I can totally understand why you wouldn't want to. But you know, I think the bonus that you get is well worth it.
I think so too. Yeah, you got to take anything Rockham says on Twitter with the smallest grain of salt that you've ever gotten in any direction. And I guess he was on a Spaces the other day, and this is all a game of telephone at this point, but I guess he sounded open possibly to the possibility of just joining their pool and that there wasn't any animosity. But then, you know, he'll tweet something totally different. It's kind of like a shock jock type of thing. So, yeah, I would like for everybody just to get into this pool. But if they don't, I know Buck is very confident that their pool should be in the top 3 regardless, probably at the end of it, especially, again, with this early traction. People aren't going to want to be like, oh, okay, I'll join this other one instead. Like, Buck has multiple people running this. They have a Telegram built out. We've all been shilling it and talking about it because we're taking part in it. I mean, I think it's a great first mover advantage. So
DJ and Moonboy had asked a question earlier, and I believe this is it. The way that it worked last time, and I can speak for last time. I don't know how it will work this time. There is a bell curve, right? So after December 1st, the rate gets worse every day for however many days until. Do you have that pulled up again? I can't pull up the website.
Wait, I'm sorry. What did you ask? What did you ask?
How long the bell curve lasts before it goes to a flat 0.75 rate?
So that is in January, I believe. I think when that's the worst final run. I think it's like January 4th through the 9th. That's the final. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay. But yeah. So whatever those dates are, the Pulse and Pulse X, both sacrifices, the way it worked out was that entity did not get in until that period of time. So they were not eligible for the bonus for volume. They just got a 0.75 flat rate. So they only got 3/4 of what was put in. However, that amount was very large. So I have a feeling that will happen the same way this time. Just a hunch based on previous experience. So I don't think RH has any money in there at the moment. This is all, again, just straight up people to see where it's at. Then that entity will come in and say, well, how much of the supply do I want? or, you know, and determine it at that time. So that's how it worked the last time. I'm assuming it will be the same this time.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think he would get in there now and steal all these, multipliers or anything. But yeah, it is definitely January 4th. That's when the bonus goes to just 0.75, the multiplier, and then the whole thing is over on January 9th. So again, I wouldn't even recommend. I personally would not even get in this if I missed this wave we're in right now. If I didn't get in this, the deadline that ends here in December, or what am I saying? Yeah, December 1st or 2nd or whatever. The 3x multiplier window. Two things I wouldn't do. I wouldn't sacrifice for it if I wasn't here in this window and if we weren't in this pool. Other than that, I would have just DCA'd into the core tokens probably today. Or actually, I would have just held cash because I don't know how fucking low we're going soon. So
now that brings up a good question. Will they continue to take will the pool be closed? I mean, it can't be closed, really. It's an address.
Right.
Will they continue to take it after that main bonus is hit?
I know Buck has talked about that. I don't know. I'd have to hear what he has to say on that again. People have asked the question and he's talked about it, but I forget what he said. I think I know that he said that they reserve the right to reduce the fee actually. So if they do so well, like beyond anything they ever imagined, that they would reduce the fee 10%, but basically that there would never be anything more than 10% on the multiplier. So that's a good question. Yeah, we could maybe reach out to him, or I'd have to search the Telegram to find that out for sure. But yeah. I mean, people are going to send it no matter what. You know, if they keep sending it to the address, they will. But yeah, they could change it anytime. I think it only gets worse to wait, though. I mean, I know it in terms of obviously the cutoffs we just talked about, but I think in terms of if you're dead set on doing it, you're doing it with a safe amount of money for you, and you're ready to go, I think doing it now is the best for everybody, yourself, the pool. I mean, literally everybody involved. You know?
I agree.
Yeah. So just to continue to give it that first mover advantage and make it look good and keep it at the top of the charts, you know? So anyway, yeah, I'm excited about it. We'll see. Even though prices are absolutely horrible and decimated everywhere, I guess there's stuff going on, which is fun, even though we're broke. And I saw somebody earlier talking about ramen being like the official food of crypto right now. Look, I have been eating rice and beans not exclusively, but every single day for the last 4 years. Now, you can make stir fries with this of all types. I use eggs in with it sometimes. I will use ground beef. Lately, I've gone to ground chicken because weirdly, it's actually cheaper than ground beef right now and far better for you also. So yeah, I mean, my dinners are literally probably 75 cents. I'm not even kidding. And 2,000 calories or something like that. So, yeah, if you're serious about this life, that's what you can do. So, anyway, I think that's it for the ProveX sacrifice. Great conversation. Marco says Popeye's rice and beans. I don't know. I bet Popeye's charges as much for rice and beans than I can get a 8-pound bag for probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.